whole collection of these people in Melbourne who really were rock fans of hard, pushy rock and roll.
People outside the norm parameters of society as it was in the late 70s. They were, in a way, rebels. You know, rebels without a cause.
They really loved their music. And that's what people call them skinnies, but they're really sharpies.
I was roughly running the Fitzroy Skinheads. I was here in Melbourne. Virtually everybody had me as the king of them. Once I got them all together, about 360. In every other little area there was other gangs. In Richmond there was a gang of about 200. Carlton was a gang of about a couple of hundred. Man, that was really, really, really bad.
Broken noses, smashed faces, a lot of blood and bottles. You used to get bottled, you've been bottled, haven't you? Bernie's been bottled.
A lot of the sharps couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. You know, I could have punched the piss out of probably half of them myself. But it was the look, yeah.
The look, wow, it's a pretty distinctive look. Sort of guys had sort of really short hair on top and really long hair down the back that they used to put various coloured dyes in, so it was lime green and red and blonde stripes and all sorts of colours. Let's call them rat tails.
Walked a bit puffed out, feet were spread, sort of at a funny angle, uncomfortably, but yeah, felt a bit bigger. I felt bigger than I was, I'm sure, because the big shoes helped too.
It was very uniquely
Australian
thing, and particularly to Melbourne. No one else in any state looked the way we did.
The crest neck t-shirts done right up to the top. You had to look sort of really dressed up.
And very tight jeans, of course. I think I mentioned them earlier, ball busters, because you know, you'd always see a definite outline of the scrotum and the old dick in the jeans.
There was nothing comfortable about it.
But no, the days when guys would put a zucchini down their jocks, you know, and they go to a disco. So I know now it seems politically incorrect, but then it was all they would call the go.
I was knocking around with gangs that we had all different nationalities. It was a multicultural, we were all acceptable amongst themselves. But mainly in all these areas around here, the gangs were multicultural.
It was that period when Australia started forming its national identity. You know, it had its migrants, it had you know, its influx of you know, people from different cultures. They'd already started to create that melting pot. I mean, you know, at my school there were like 45 nationalities in my school. It was like spot the Aussie lunchtime, you know, Lola High School. And I mean, you know, probably 2/3 of the Thomastown Sharps were migrants.
Until I was about 13 or 14, I was always getting into trouble, uncontrollable and whatever, and till the judge had enough of me, and at the age of about 14 he made me a ward of the state. Locked me up in a boys' home, and there I got an Oxford degree in how to live anywhere in the world. I immigrated to Australia when I was about 4.5, 5 years old. As soon as I went to school, they put me into an opportunity grade, and in that opportunity grade there was a lot of other kids. They were pretty tough. So the moral of the story is I learned to be tough instead of learning how to read and write.
It was a violent time. You've got to remember, in the mid-70s, early 70s, there's a violent macho world. We had to do that to survive. We were always out on our push bikes. We didn't stay home one night a week. Believe me, mate, if we stayed home, we felt we were missing out on some action. Because we knew the other 12 guys were out there. There's basically 13 in the gang, and always at Blackburn South shops, every night of the week. We'd muck around, fight, we'd, you know, have piggyback fights, we'd ride our pushies, chase each other on pushies, do practical jokes on each other, you know.
Skinhead was a person in short hair, right, who who liked doing things that with his friends. And things like, you know, we had no responsibilities, we didn't care about anything, we were cruel, we were heartless, you know, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I'm not even hate thinking about how cruel we were and some of the things that we used to do.
Preston boys come to get us at school, like guys in cars, men, came to get us 15, 16-year-olds at school. So, you know, we had to run from school, get away from school because we're going to get beaten up in our own schoolyard. Bikers were after me. I think it was a coffin cheaters or something. One of them dudes was after me or something.
Why?
And we all hid at home at my house on Saturday night. Big tough sharpies we are.
The girls were pretty rough and tumble, as I remember. They didn't exactly have the princesses of, you know, the queen of the prom as their girlfriends.
Bloody watch it, will ya?
Girls used to get hassled quite a lot, quite a lot, and that's why maybe now you got me, everybody's so tough on anybody even, you know what I mean? You know, which they deserve, you know, but the females got a really, really rough time of the 70s, you know.
If you said wrong against the Sharpies, the girls, or a fight started, the girls wouldn't think anything of getting, you know, joining in.
Girls weren't affected. We were sort of, they were intrigued by us. They wanted to be with us, but we're too dangerous for them, I think, or scary.
What are you pushing?
What do you want?
Well, it's basically because of our reputation. We didn't really hardly ever pick the fight. There's always someone wanting to get us because they wanted to, you know, make a name for themselves. That's the key. It's all bluff. It's all in the eyes.
What's bluff?
Even when you know you're beat, you don't show it. That was the key, actually. I got out a lot of fights from that, just bluffing my way out of it.
I learned how to survive, you know, and that was survival. You know, and back in them days, I had to survive. You know, I must have copped 10 to 15 hidings before I even threw a punch. But after I threw my first punch, and that was it. I've never copped a hiding since.
When the skinhead violence started to protrude into it, that's when it fell apart for people like me. That's why we walked away from us, just drop coloured balls, because it started to intrude on things.
Fucking Paul Hogan and the Solo Man and Clint Eastwood, that's who we thought we were, you know. We used to watch The Good, Bad and Ugly and we thought we were good, bad and ugly.
There's something about a gang that's cool. And it's almost like a band, you know, a rock and roll band, without instruments, in a way.
Nunchuckers instead of guitars.
Nunchuckers and bicycle chains instead of guitars.